All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. We're one day closer to the weekend, which means it's time to place our bets for Week 5 of the college football season. I am your host, Seth Woolcock, and today I am once again joined by a man who would follow Brian Kelly into a snowstorm if he could. He's Terrell Furman Jr. Terrell, what's the flavor of the week, my friend?
Well, the snowstorm is 100% where you lost me. 100%. I went to a South Carolina-Tennessee game. That was the game when Hendon Hooker actually tore his ACL, and South Carolina put it on him. Oh, I think I was on the Tennessee side actually, but it was hilarious. However, I say all that to say it was 50 degrees and I was freezing. I thought it was like 20. I had a pea coat on. I was in there bundled up, little scarf, all that. And there's people out here, no shirt on, just And I'm like, yeah, football's not meant for me to be in person, guys, because this isn't even cold to y'all. And I'm just freezing. And I promise you, it was like 45, 50 degrees. Like it wasn't even like it was blistering cold.
You would not make it very far in Pennsylvania, my friend. Let me tell you that right now. We're also joined by one of the best voices in the college football betting spaces, Scott Bet the Toe Bogman. Bogman, how's it going? Any weekend plans for you with a full slate of pro and college football on tap?
Just getting everything done before the Bama-Georgia game. That's my plan for this weekend. And then watching our Steelers, Seth, hopefully go to 4-0 as well.
Yes,
also a pansy in the cold. I got made fun of when I went from Arizona to Minneapolis for the All-Star game a while back when it was in Minnie, and it was kind of cold there. I mean, it was the summer. It was July. It was the All-Star game. So I was kind of like, it rained and the wind was whipping and I was kind of shivering, and the people from Minnesota were laughing at me. They're like, come back in February. I'm like, well, come back to Arizona now. Because when I landed, they're like, It is currently 117 degrees outside. I was like, I'm home. I'm much more adept with the heat than I am the cold. Me and Terrell, for sure.
It's understandable. You're not made for Big Ten football. I get it. The people get it.
Absolutely not.
We'll forgive you either way, guys. As noted on today's program, we'll be making our picks for some of the biggest games of the college football season here. But before we jump in, I did want to remind you about the Betting Pros Discord. Looking to up your game in sports betting? Join our exclusive sports betting Discord community at bettingpros.com/chat. Not only can you connect with expert handicappers who will provide picks for the NBA, the NFL, MLB, NHL, player props, live betting, and more. But you can also participate in our weekly community picks. Cast your vote and see how your picks stack up against the experts and track your success. Let's go ahead and jump in here, gentlemen. The spread has opened up for Friday's matchup. The 7th-ranked Hurricanes are now laying 18.5 points on the Virginia Tech Hokies. Bogman, you were full send on this Cam Ward-led Miami team when we spoke on Monday. They are 4-0 against the spread and now potentially getting back left tackle Jalen Rivers and defensive end Ruben Bain Jr. From injury this week. Is that enough for you to lay nearly 3 touchdowns on them come Saturday?
I mean, I don't even think they would need those guys to beat Virginia Tech the way Tech has been playing. So I think I'm comfortable anything up to 20, 21, something like that in this game. But I tell you what, I've watched Virginia Tech a little bit. I bet on them week 1 and lost. I bet on their over last week with Rutgers and nailed that one. But so I've watched them a couple times, and they are just slow starters. And I went back and looked. 3 points at Vandy, 10 against Marshall, 14 against Old Dominion, and 7 versus Rutgers, all in the first half. Miami's first half totals, 24 against Florida, 25 against Florida A&M, 31 against Ball State, and 22 last week against USF. So the first half spread is Miami minus 10.5. That's actually my favorite bet in this game because we know Tech starts slow, Miami starts hot. It's on a Friday. I know Terrell didn't even want to talk about this game because it's going to be such a blowout.
No, I didn't. I was waiting until my turn, but since you cue me in, I'm going to tag in here because no, I didn't want to talk about this game. You want me to go up here and you want me to tell you that Tech is going to get killed here. And of course, me being from the Commonwealth of Virginia and following this team along for as long as I have, I'm telling you, no matter what side you bet in this game, you should be extremely concerned, because what you don't know, if you don't follow this Virginia Tech team, and I promise you the people from Virginia that love Virginia Tech know this, games like this are games that Virginia Tech just walks in and somehow, some way they're in the game. You don't know how. You don't understand how. Somehow, some way, they're in the game. In fact, if you look at the last 5 years, when Virginia Tech has been on the road as a large dog playing a top 25 team, 3-0 ATS. I'm telling you, it's really, really weird. It's something that they do where they have really, really bad games, then they go on the road, top 25 team, and we're all bought in again as fans. So I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is it's hard to trust Mario Cristobal. You look at his numbers, he's 3-8 ATS as a home favorite. Look at the last 5 years, and he's 7-10-1 as a double-digit favorite of. So, like, that's a really, really, really tough spot for him as a double-digit home favorite. Your team is expected to win. Your team is at home. Your team is clearly far away better, but you don't have your team prepared at any way in shape or form. So, I'm going here, and I'm fading. Mario Cristobal, and I'm taking Virginia Tech because as a fan, I just know when Virginia Tech is off and they get this random road game against a top 25 team, they weirdly show up.
Yeah. Look, I don't hate that. But I'll say that I'm betting on Cam Ward and not on Mario.
Yeah, no, I get it. And so I think that if you actually place the bet on Virginia Tech, you're going to sweat. You're going to sweat, and you're going to feel very, very iffy about this from when you hit the button until the time the game goes off. But, I mean, 3-0 ATS against top 25 teams is a road double-digit dog. Like, that's really, really good. And it's just a weird spot they get up for.
It is a weird spot. I would like it to be a closer game, but I think Miami's got their swag back, and that's dangerous. When the U gets their swag back, they are dangerous. So I think they may have it with Cam Ward. We'll see.
Bogman, I like that first half that you threw out there. I think that's a good one. I was planning on having maybe a little fire later on Friday night, so then maybe I can sweat that out in the first half, walk away with a little money in my pocket. But Terrell doesn't even like that potentially as well if he's hanging in there with the 19-point spread.
It's a tough one to pick. That's a lot of points. So yeah. I don't blame anyone from laying off of it. I'm going to do my first half bet. I don't think I'm going to take the full game.
Okay. I trust Cam Ward. I don't trust Cristobal.
That's fair.
Absolutely. Yeah. Given. Let's move on to the Saturday slate here, where the 20th ranked Kansas State Wildcats are now just a 4.5-point favorite against OK State. We know OK State is already down linebacker Colin Oliver, and for whatever reason, this team just can't run the ball anymore. Ollie Gordon averaging just about 44 rushing yards over the past 3 weeks. As for K-State, they'll be out tight end Chris Kielman. He was the guy who replaced Ben Sinnott in this offense. Terrell, as someone who made a good amount of coin fading K-State last week, are you going back to the well here once again, my friend?
Oh, yes. Thank you, BYU. Love BYU.
You should be thanking K-State for making all those mistakes. Good Lord.
Oh, and look, and that's exactly where my handicap starts, because you had a fumble return for a touchdown. Yep. You had a punt return for a touchdown. Take those away, and this game might look a little different. Maybe they get the momentum in the end of the game to really try to make a push there, but it just seemed like that was a perfect spot where, as I thought, everything went wrong that could have went wrong for K-State on the road, and now they're back home, where you look at where Kleiman is 16-7 as a home favorite and 15-6 ATS off a loss. Yeah, 30-16 in conference. And I do not trust this Oklahoma State team. I don't think they're that good when they're not running the football. Kansas State has a very, very solid run defense, and you got to make Bowman beat you as a passer. And I don't think he has the ability to do that. So, yeah, I'm going with K-State here. Lay the points.
Bogman, you going with K-State as well?
I'm not taking a side. I'm going with the over. And I like this game to go over because K-State runs the ball at a heavier clip, 53%. OK State is 102nd statistically against the run this year. They grade 69th in PFF. Their team performance has been 81st in the country. So I think K-State's going to be able to run on them. And the way that Kansas defense works is that they don't blitz, and they haven't been very good against the pass. We just saw the kid from BYU pick them apart. So I think Bowman, while he is not good and I don't really like him, he is good enough to sit in the pocket and pick apart a bad secondary. So I think that's going to happen on that side. I think K-State's going to be able to run the ball. So give me the over right now. I believe the total last time I looked was 53.5. So yeah, let's take the over in this game.
Okay, Bogman likes the over, and Terrell, he's going to be backing the Kansas State Wildcats this week. A little heel turn move from the heel of this program.
Yay, man. Crazy heel turn in 1 week, but I love it.
I like to see it, man. You're betting with your head, not your heart. That's what we like to see here on the program. Let's shift to Ann Arbor, where I somehow, unfortunately, did not move the line in this game with my 3-unit play on Michigan, -9.5 against Minnesota. In fact, they're actually now Michigan -9 tickets out there on Fanatics. The Wolverines tight end Colston Loveland, he was out last week. He remains questionable. However, Sharon Moore did tell us this week, and I gotta say, Sharon Moore is like one of the most upstanding, like straightforward guys with the injury reports. I check him out each and every single week. Michigan, I don't know if it's the beat writers are just better there, or Sharon Moore is just really open and honest. So I just want to say I appreciate that about him. But he said he is doing a lot better and that he is moving in the right direction here. We also did get confirmation that DB Will Johnson will be able to go in this one as well. So Terrell, are you willing to ride with me and this Michigan run game led by Alex Orji, Khalil Mullins, and Donovan Edwards here?
I mean, I didn't see anything in the USC game that made me feel any different than I feel about Michigan right now. It's tough, man. I think that Minnesota. This is if
Minnesota
you're Minnesota,
can't stop the run, man.
If you're Minnesota and you ever have a chance to even come close to beating Michigan, it's this year, right? You take this opportunity here this year, right? PJ Fleck, pretty solid as a road dog, 24-14-1 on the road in his career. I don't really like this game, to be honest. I probably won't be betting it. So I'm going to watch you with your 3-unit play on Michigan. But if I had a lead, I would lead Minnesota here.
Okay, Boggs, how do you feel about it?
I'm laying them. I'm taking the Wolverines as well. And it's because of the performance that we saw Minnesota have at home against Iowa last week. They could not stop the run. They gave up 272 yards against Iowa. They were also beat on the ground by UNC. And, you know, Michigan is very one-dimensional. I understand that. And you don't really want a one-dimensional team. But it doesn't matter. They're just going to push Minnesota around on the line of scrimmage. I don't know about the total here. It's pretty low to take the over. I don't trust that Minnesota's going to score even maybe a point in this game. So to me, I'm going to take the Wolverines. I like this up to, maybe a little bit over double digits as well. So I think Michigan, honestly, it's not even their offense. It's their defense. They still rank top 10. I think they're 22nd overall in grade, and that's with games against USC and Texas this year. So that defense is still really good. I don't see Minnesota scoring, so I'll lay the points and take the Wolverines. And I mean, you win this game if you get like a 14-0 or 17-0 game, which it could easily be.
Okay, and before we keep it moving, don't forget to join our college football podcast group. Sync your picks and use our quick pick feature on the BettingPros sports betting app to get a chance to win some free prizes. You can elevate your betting strategy and join the conversation today at bettingpros.com/college. Getting into the 3:30 slate, gentlemen, it's the 21st ranked Oklahoma Sooners who are now just a 1-point favorite against the Auburn Tigers on the road. Quarterback controversies highlight this game on both sides, and it's been official. Freshman Michael Hawkins Jr. will get the nod for the Sooners. Jackson Arnold, who's supposed to be the next one, takes a seat here on the bench. Meanwhile, we have absolutely zero clarity of who will get the nod for the unranked Auburn Tigers. Hank Brown, he started the last game, and now Peyton Thorne. He came in at halftime. I imagine
because he threw 3 picks.
Yeah.
Thorne got benched for throwing 4 picks, and then Brown came back and threw 3 in the first half. Freeze said, "No, I'm not going to give you a chance to throw a 4th one."
Did you guys see the clip on Twitter as well as Peyton Thorne's interview?
I don't think I saw it. What did he do?
He was given a little. They asked, "Hey, if you can give Hank some advice. You've been there. You've thrown a lot of picks in a game. What's your best advice?" And he said, "Stay off your phone." And he kind of said it in a
I did see the stay off your phone.
Yeah, he kind of did in a condescending way that the internet wasn't too kind to him. I thought it was a fine response. I thought it was a good question from the journalist as well. So, laughing aside here, we do know that Auburn, they will be out without starting defensive back Champ Anthony, who had surgery this week. Also, tight end Brandon Frazier remains questionable as well. Bogman, you were pretty confident in Oklahoma laying 2.5 earlier this week. You'd be thrilled for this game to nearly be at a pick'em currently.
I keep investing in the Oklahoma side, and I don't want to root for Oklahoma here. I can't stand OU, but they're going to make you some money this week because Auburn is a mess right now. And I know I still don't like the Oklahoma offensive line. They're miserable, right? And Auburn's defense, maybe they step up. They're at home, whatever. Auburn is -10 in turnover margin this season because of what we just laughed and talked about, right? They can't stop turning the ball over. They give it away too many times. And Oklahoma's defense is still really good. They held they held Tennessee down to 25 points, which is the lowest total by a lot. They had totals of 69, 51, and 71 going into that game. Tennessee had yard games of 718, 460, and 740 in their first 3 games, and OU held them to 345.
Wow.
I just don't like the way that Auburn has been playing on the offensive side. I don't like the way OU has been playing on the offensive side, but in a pick'em, I think going to Hawkins is the right move. I think it's not only going to boost the whole offense. I think, Deion Burks looks like he's going to be able to play in this game on the OU side as well. For me, I am going for OU here. I think this is a beatdown in Auburn, and I think this game might be the one that puts Hugh Freeze on some really shaky ground here.
Terrell, I don't think you're a favorite with the Auburn alum and community in general right now after some of those laughs you were giving us. Can you get back in their good graces here and pick the Tigers?
Yeah, because why am I laying points with this OU team right now? Like I hear everything you're saying, Boggs, and I see all the 90+% of people that are also on Oklahoma this week, and I'm just like, maybe it's because y'all like Tennessee and I didn't, but when I saw that OU game, not a team I want to get behind. And so here with Auburn, I'm looking at Venables, and I just don't trust Venables to get this team in shape and get this team ready to go. You're starting a freshman in his first road game. Not only his first road game, this is all of your first road game in the SEC. And you're going to Auburn. And looking at Venable and his record, 3-6-1 as a road favorite, 5-5 straight up in those games.
Wow.
And here's the big distinction between him on the road and him at home. As a home favorite, he's 8-4 and 10-2 straight up. Like, that's a big, big disparity there. And it's just coaching. Like, that's pure coaching. And now you have to coach your team up and go to Auburn, this place that's going to be rocking for OU, and they're going to want to send a statement of, hey, you're not just going to come into the SEC and push us around. Hugh Freeze 11-5 as a home dog. I really, really struggle with the quarterback situation. I really, really do. But this is an ugly, ugly, ugly game. I think low scoring, take the under, and yeah, I'm going to take the points.
Okay, we have a house divided here. I don't like it when we argue, but hey, that's what we have to do here. That's the name of the game. And let's go ahead and move here to a top 25 matchup in South Bend, where number 16 Notre Dame has opened up to a 6-point favorite against the 15th ranked Louisville Cardinals. And it looks like most of the money isn't buying into the Cardinals here, despite covering against a good Georgia Tech team. It could be because they did lose starting cornerback DK Saunders and slot wide receiver Jalen Thompson for the year. This is already after they lost their number one receiving weapon coming into the season and Colin Lacey back in camp. Meanwhile, Notre Dame, they'll be without tight end Cooper Flanagan and defensive end Joshua Burnham in this one. Terrell, do you trust Notre Dame enough, even despite those injuries, to lay down some money here on the Irish, who lost the Cardinals 33-20 last season?
Yeah, revenge game. Big revenge game. Not only a revenge game for Notre Dame, but this is a Riley Leonard revenge game as well. Remember last season, Riley Leonard at Duke, all banged up, came back and ended up playing against Louisville, and they got after him. I mean, the offensive line couldn't do anything to protect him. They were always in his face. He was always on the run. And
that was a Friday night game, wasn't it? I remember
like
sitting at a restaurant being very mad that Notre Dame or that Duke was not covering. I remember that.
Yes.
Game. Yeah.
Absolutely. Actually, if you go back even further to Riley Leonard's first year, he played against Louisville. They got destroyed. But Riley Leonard came in the game. He was 13 for 13, 99 yards. I just thought that was a funny little nugget that he went perfect that game. But yeah, I'm on Riley Leonard in Notre Dame. I think he's going to get a lot more protection this year. I think this is a really, really big spot for this entire team to just, one, get a lot of revenge on this UL team. I think that the line is short enough and a little bit more stock going into them than I thought with the win over at Georgia Tech. But I think it's a really nice, really, really good bounce back spot. And Marcus Freeman gets this team ready to go. I'm with Notre Dame.
Okay, 2 questions for you, Bogman. 1, are you backing Terrell's play here, going with the Irish? And 2, were you in a Texas Roadhouse? I'm just curious if people from Texas actually go to Texas Roadhouse or not.
Yeah, we go to Texas Roadhouse for sure. It's usually jumping.
Is it just Roadhouse?
No, it's still Texas Roadhouse in Texas. But I'm not taking a side in this game. I'm taking the under in this game because I just
Oh,
don't. I really like that Louisville defensive line. It's one of the best units in the country. I think they're going to be able to stop Riley Leonard in that run game for Notre Dame, or at least slow him down. And this line, like you said, is expanding towards Notre Dame. I may look at the end of the week and maybe take Louisville if this gets out to like 8 or 9 points. Right now, I'm just laying off of it, but I
okay.
like the under right now. The total that I saw was 47.5. I think this is an ugly, muddy run game in South Bend. I think it's going to be a nice, tight one. So that makes me not like a side, but I'll roll with the under in this game.
Okay, on to beautiful Southern California, where I think the weather will be a bit nicer this weekend than it is out here on the East Coast. We're getting in with like 10 days straight of rain here, so hopefully if you guys are, hopefully if you guys are listening, you didn't plan a golf trip like I did on Saturday morning here. Nonetheless, though, the spread for this game, 13th ranked Trojans will be playing against the Wisconsin Badgers, and honestly, this spread has kind of started out smaller and widened out since the week has prolonged here. It's now 15 points, and we know that Wisconsin will be without Tyler Van Dyke, and Braden Locke will get the start at quarterback. However, we have an update from USC that isn't the best as far as injuries are concerned. We have Malachi Lemon. He remains questionable, the wide receiver there. Safety, Achille Arnold. He's going to be questionable as well. And then tight end, Lake McRee. He'll be out of this one. Bogman, are you still back in USC and the points, or is there a different play you like here? The total currently at 50.5 for this one as well.
I think I'm going to stay away from this game as a whole. I think this is too many points. I really don't like Wisconsin, especially with a backup quarterback, but I don't know if I think this is too many points to say USC is definitely going to win by 15.5. I already lost money on them last week as well. Wisconsin's coming off a bye. So USC's maybe a little beat up from that Michigan game as well.
Right.
My lean is towards USC and the under in this game, but I think this is going to be a little tight for me to, unless the total comes back down to below 2 touchdowns for USC. I think I'm just to stay away from this one.
Okay. Terrell, do you think Locke is that much worse than Tyler Van Dyke, honestly? And is that enough motivation for you to come over to the Wisconsin side of this one?
No, because I didn't think Van Dyke was that good at all, honestly. So, but it's just I don't trust the scheme. This is not the offense that needs to be running at Wisconsin. Like, Fickell is a good coach, but he's not the coach for Wisconsin. And in fact, over this week, I've heard multiple people say, "Hey, if this was the old Wisconsin, we would hammer the points here. We're taking the points. We would take them outright because the old Wisconsin would play very physical, ground and pound, take the game to USC and not let USC take the game to them." Oh no, I think USC bounce back game after Michigan, a game they feel like they could have won. Still looking to make a statement. First Big Ten home game. Yeah, I'm backing USC to get it done. Lay the points.
Okay, and before we continue, I want to tell you about Fast Break Bets. If you like betting on basketball, well then host Terrell Furman on the Fast Break Bets podcast has your daily dose of basketball betting in 15 minutes or less. Tune in every day for your rapid-fire fix of all things basketball, from the W to the NBA to college basketball and more. Check out the Fast Break Bets podcast on the Betting Pros YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you tuned into our earlier week show, you know I was gassing up this number 3 Ohio State team and how we have no reason to believe that they will not cover this spread against the turnover-prone Michigan State team on Saturday night. However, you can actually even get a better line than we could earlier in the week. They're now just a 23.5 point favorite. The total on this has also shrunk down to just 48 points as well. The rich get richer here as Ohio State has a clean bill of health, while Sparty's pretty banged up here. Last week, they didn't have any of their top 4 wide receivers. None of them played. We still don't have word that they will be going in this one. The line has also lost 2 right guards this season as well, forcing them to kind of shuffle some things around up front there. Terrell, can I interest you in Ohio State against the spread, or the over in this game, or maybe even a parlay of both for plus 204?
I mean, I guess I'll take Ohio State. I guess, like,
that's how I feel.
This has the stench that Ryan Day is gonna mess this up.
No,
this game has the stench that he's gonna mess this up, and I don't know how. I can't tell you why, but I just feel like Michigan State's probably gonna be in this game a little bit longer than they need to be, and I don't have any reasoning to take it because Michigan State, I think, looks horrible. I don't think they look good, but this just feels like a letdown spot for Ohio State. With that being said, I'm still going to take Ohio State here. I can't get to the window at Michigan State at all, but I think the line is going down for a reason. That's enough for me to just go ahead and pivot off this game or just take the under.
Oh, wow. Bogman, how do you feel? Can I get you in on my 2-1 parlay that I'm thinking about laying out there?
I mean, I'm with Terrell. I think if I'm picking a side, it would definitely be Ohio State for sure. They haven't played anybody though. They haven't showed us anything yet. So I don't really know, is Will Howard the answer here? Is he the thing that's going to push them over the top and have them in the Big Ten championship game and going to the playoff and all of that? So I would take them just because Michigan State has looked so miserable, especially Childs turning the ball over has been just a complete disaster. And I mentioned the margin of victory for Ohio State the last couple of years, 35, 29, 51, 40, 24, 20, 45. That is the margin of victory for Ohio State against Michigan State the last 7 seasons or whatever it is. So I'm still taking Ohio State here. I'm not really interested. I probably won't have a ticket on this game, though.
I'm stepping out on faith. I'm taking Michigan State plus points.
There we go.
They're due. They're so due against this team.
I'm
you
know what? The gut has worked for Terrell the last couple of weeks. Me too. And I didn't take BYU last week. I should have. I should have taken him. Mm-hmm. I just didn't do it. I was being cowardly. I should have taken Utah too because I don't like Oklahoma State. Being cowardly, didn't do it. So I like that, taking your gut, Terrell. For me, I don't have a good gut feeling, so I would still take Ohio State. But if you're rolling with it, I get it.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. Watch they get a backdoor. This is the backdoor cover.
That's kind of what I think too. That's why I don't really like this. It could be up by 31, and then here comes Michigan State scoring touchdown late, going for 2 for no reason. You can totally see it happening.
He said take the over.
Yeah, the over's not bad.
He said take the over.
Yeah, over's not bad, but I don't really like this game.
How can the Penn State fan have more confidence in Ohio State than any of you guys? Makes absolutely zero sense, but I guess that's just Big Ten football, baby. Speaking
points.
I'm doing it. I think I'm gonna lay it. Not a lot, not a 3-uniter, but I think I'm gonna get invested with Ohio State in some shape or form.
I'll tell you what, I don't think the next one is a lot of points.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's move to the smack dab middle of Pennsylvania, where it's homecoming weekend in Happy Valley. It's the 9th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions who are laying 17.5 points and even 19 points in some places against the 19th-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. State has already lost safety KJ Winston to a long-term injury, and now our guy Dom DeLuca also questionable to go this week as well from the linebacker position. This was already one of the more questionable Penn State defenses we've seen in quite some time. Does this leaky hole sink the ship in State College on Saturday night, Terrell? Illinois quarterback Luke Altmaier has been absolutely dealing.
Yeah, he has. I think it comes to a crashing halt. I'm sorry.
Check, huh?
I am a guy that had money on Illinois plus the points on money line. I believed in him. Look, he had 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had a great game. From what I've seen from Altmaier, he is going to come crashing down against Penn State. And not only do I think it's going to be tough because it's on the road at Penn State, but I just think that this offense is going to gash the Penn State defense. They destroyed them last year on the road, and I think that Penn State, so far, I faded them on the road against WVU earlier this season. Very ill-advised there. I think this is a spot where, hey, they just do enough. It doesn't look pretty. It doesn't look great, fantastic. But when you look up, they're up 3 touchdowns on this Illinois team, and they can't move the football. Like, I just think this is a really, really bad spot for them going on the road, Penn State, especially coming off of that huge overtime win against Nebraska. They let down all way. Hey, what they Nittany Lion? What they say? Penn State, go Penn State.
We are, baby. We are.
We are.
I'll tell you what, Terrell, you obviously don't have the same scars I do from that 2021 9 overtime game where we lost in the rain in Happy Valley.
I actually had money on Illinois in that game.
Oh, well, maybe that's why you don't have the same scars.
I got a good pulse on this team right now.
Okay, all right. How do you feel about it, Bogman?
I feel like I'm not taking the side. I'm taking the over because either Penn State is going to score a bunch of points and just roll Illinois, like kind of like Terrell is saying here, or Illinois is going to be able to score because Altmaier's look good. So are those turnovers going to? I think the turnovers are either going to say, "Hey, Illinois is in this game because they're not turning the ball over, and it's higher scoring than we expect," or they're going to turn the ball over a bunch playing comeback here, and that's going to lead to easy touchdowns for Penn State. So I think either way, I feel pretty good about the over 47.5 in this game. I do think Illinois covers because I think they're just a better team than they were last year. I think Altmaier's a better player than he was last year. You know, his second year in here, kind of moving things forward at this point. He's passed all the tests so far this year. This is the hardest one. Doesn't mean he's going to pass it, but I think either way, he's going to be building points towards this over, either with the turnovers that we haven't seen yet, or by keeping this offense on schedule and actually scoring some points. So give me the over in this game.
Okay, I wouldn't mind that either way. On to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where the second-ranked Georgia Bulldogs come to town to face the fourth-ranked Crimson Tide. And while I'm sure a lot of money is coming in on this game, there hasn't been any line movement this week on it. For Bama, they have two defensive starters who are in question right now coming into this game. Safety Malachi Moore, he's questionable, should probably go, is what we're hearing down there from DeBoer. And then also linebacker Kawan Russaw, he is questionable currently as well. But the Bulldogs, they're even more banged up. Star edge rusher Michael Williams, he's remaining questionable here. We have a couple other defensive linemen, Jordan Hall, Warren Brinson, also banged up. And they already lost their arguably best offensive lineman for the season, Tate Rutledge. And even Carson Beck last week popped up on the injury report, had a little bit of shoulder pain in his non-throwing shoulder. We took a lot of heat in the comments, Bogman, for getting off the Bulldogs after just one scary almost loss to Kentucky. Has your tone changed since we last spoke?
Roll damn Tide. Absolutely not. I'm on the home team here.
Careful.
And look, whatever. I don't care. I think the difference here, this is a close game, right? So if you don't want to bet it and you want to just watch it because it's a good game, I completely understand that. And look, Georgia is still, it doesn't matter if they win this game, if they lose this game. They're still going to the playoff. They're still one of the best teams in the country, and they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. So no disrespect to Georgia at all whatsoever. I like the home team here. And I think the difference to me is that and I think the sword cuts both ways, which is why I don't particularly love this game. But I think you're going to get the big play, which is going to be needed. I'm more confident that Jalen Milroe is going to make that big play than I am Carson Beck is. Doesn't mean Carson Beck can't, but I don't like the fact that Bowers is gone and Ladd McConkey is gone. And we haven't really seen those big explosive plays like we saw with them last year. I think Ryan Williams has been unbelievable stepping up and making big plays for Alabama so far. Maybe this game is too much for him. Maybe it is. There's a lot of different ways this could go. It's going to be a fun, close game at night. I can't wait for it. Like I said at the beginning of the show, make sure everything is done early so you can sit and watch this game because it's going to be one of the best games of the year. But I'm on the Tide at home. Give me the points. You know, there's a reason they've been, home favorites for so long here. I think this is a very close game. It could go either way. It could get ugly either way as well. But I'm going to roll with the Tide here.
Okay. Terrell, where do you lean on this just monumental matchup on Saturday night?
Oh, I thought the scheduling was perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Thank you, because they did exactly what they needed. They got everybody off of Georgia. By placing this game directly after Kentucky. Look, Kentucky has Georgia's number in the win-loss column. No, but ATS, absolutely. They make those games all the time. They've done it in past years. You had 13-12 this past game. They blew them out last season, but at Kentucky, it was a 16-6 game in 2022. They go at Kentucky in the COVID year, and it's 14-3. Kentucky comes over in 2019, and it's 21-0, but it was a 24-point spread, so they still covered. Like, they've covered 4 of the last 5 games against this Georgia team. So now we get to come to the revenge game. We get to look Alabama and we say, Nick Saban's not walking through that door this time. Kirby said, nope, I got you this time. And I'm coming off of a bye. And now I get a whole extra week to prepare for this game as well.
Bama had a bye too.
I like Kirby Smart 17-2 off the bye. I think that it's going to be really, really good spot for them on the road. And what is a classic revenge spot? Like, this is just pure classic revenge spot. They didn't even get a chance to defend their title in the playoff because of Alabama.
Mhm.
Like that's enough for me to say, hey, Georgia's going to come into this game. They've had this one circled ever since the end of last season. They said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to pay them back and we're going to make sure we do it in a big way. I think Georgia rolls.
Then Terrell, with that being said, do you prefer the spread? I imagine -1.5 points, or you just taking the money line and forgetting the points.
No, so I have to get myself into a good habit of just go ahead and taking the money line when we get close to some of these numbers. Because you could have a situation where it was like Minnesota and North Carolina earlier this year, where if you took the spread, it hit, but if you had the money line, it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think that I'm gonna just go ahead and back the money line. But I will also get a little frisky. And if I can find a win margin and say that this
Sure.
climb this up to double digits, I would do it. I would do it. I really think Georgia
Wow.
has this game circled. I think they have this game circled, and they say, "Hey, we can go in there. We can have a really, really good game against Alabama on their home field and pay them back for what they did, and just a whole long list of monstrosities that Alabama has done to Georgia over the past." I think they're going to get up for it.
Yeah, no doubt that they get up to it, and it's going to be a fun game. That's why I said, make sure everything is done, and you can sit in front of the television and
Yep.
watch this game. And even if it is,
Send the kids to a babysitter.
yeah,
Don't even have them in the
do
house.
whatever you got to
Don't even
do,
have
man.
them in the
Like
house.
get it all clear, and make sure you're watching this game. Carson Beck hasn't had it yet this year. Maybe this is where he does have it, but I trust Milroe and Bama to make the bigger play here. So, and that defensive line, like Seth mentioned, a little bit chewed up after that. That was a physical game against Kentucky. They got the extra week, as you mentioned, but
Yeah.
Bama had the extra week as well. So I would be all over Georgia. If Bama played a tough game last week or something, I'd be all over Georgia, but they're both coming off the bye here.
Okay, later that night out west, you can now get the 10th ranked Utah Utes as an 11-point favorite against the unranked Arizona Wildcats. We know Cam Rising is cleared, but he's still not 100% and uncertain to play in this game. Isaac Wilson, much to your credit, Terrell, was very sound in his relief last week against OK State. Arizona pulled off the upset last season, though, but Utah traditionally does have their number in this rivalry. Terrell, are you backing Noah Fafita and company, or is this the Utes all the way?
I don't know what a Ute is, but I need to get me one. I definitely need to get me one. I love this team. Love this team. However, I think this is going to be a little bit of a tough test for Sir Isaac Wilson here. I don't know if he's going to be able to get this one done. I have full faith in Cam Rising, by the way. So if I know 100% Cam Rising is the quarterback, and I'm not going to lie, I felt very, very good about Cam Rising playing last week. I will just go ahead and put that out there. Despite me still hitting my Utah bet and losing CLV and still hitting my Utah bet, I felt really, really good about Rising playing, and he didn't play at all. So I have no idea what's going with that. If Rising plays, I'm more than likely going to switch and take the Utes. But I think Fafita, I've seen him on the road before, and he's come up big in some spots. I think he could make this a game. 11 points is a lot.
Okay, how do you feel about it, Bogman? I'm very trepidatious to get back in bed with this Arizona team after what they did on the road a couple weeks ago in Kansas State.
Yeah, to me, it was just really impressive seeing what Utah did to Oklahoma State at Oklahoma State, right? In the defense. Like Terrell said, it didn't matter who the quarterback was there. And I think that was more about his hate for OK State than his love for Utah. But it turned into love for Utah for me. That defense looks so good right now. Utah is a tough place to play. I know Arizona is coming off the bye. I expect them to put up a better fight than they did against K-State, but it was one drive and then dominance from K-State 2 weeks ago when they lost that game. I just don't think they're going to have it against Utah. Maybe it's a little bit closer than I think, but I'll lay the points and take the Utes.
Okay, let's end the program and the night where the frisky UCLA Bruins host the 8th-ranked Oregon Ducks. Y'all tried to fade this.
Yeah, frisky. Yeah.
Y'all tried to fade this fine Big Ten program last week, and you paid the price not only to the books, but myself as well. Do you do it again, Terrell? As Oregon, they're laying 24 points in this one. Keep in mind, the Ducks have only beaten the Bruins by a combined 21 points in their last 3 matchups.
Yeah.
You're back?
Yeah, I'm fading them again. I'm back. I'm fading
You
them
son
again.
of a gun.
I'm fading them again.
You son of a gun.
I don't think they're good. I don't think they're good. I really don't. And so Oregon kind of got back into good graces here. They had a really good game against Oregon State, and it was like, all right, so you have it in you. It's not that it's not in you, because the first 3 weeks or the first 2 weeks before that wasn't good. So now I think Oregon coming in here, it just UCLA just doesn't look good, man. And now there's also a question of how good is LSU? LSU might not be that good. So there's a really, really good part of that. So if LSU isn't that good and they, kept serve there and didn't look terrible, I don't think that boats any well. I think Dylan Gabriel and company roll. Give me Oregon.
Bogman, you doubling down too on the fade?
I really don't like UCLA, but
they're not good.
They're not good. But
looked pretty decent last week to me.
They didn't. Then you didn't watch the game. You saw the cover, and that's great. But you did not watch that game, because if you watched that game, you would have been sweating for the last 10 minutes on that cover, because it did not look like UCLA was going to hold up. Did they score a point in the second half? I don't think they did. So UCLA is not a good team. But Oregon has not put anything together yet. They have not been impressive at all. They almost got beat at home by Boise State. They're coming off a bye here. So my lean is towards Oregon, I'll say, but I'm not going to have a ticket on this game. And if I do, it's going to be on the under, because I don't believe UCLA is going to score many points at all. They're way too one-dimensional on offense. I believe they're 132nd in the country in rushing right now. They're terrible running the ball. They can't do it. Ethan Garbers is he's a good vet to go on the road and have your team be competitive for the first half, like they were last week against LSU. But they're not going to contend with Oregon here. And maybe you get a backdoor cover from UCLA, which is why I kind of don't really like this game. But I'm going to lean towards Oregon here coming off the bye to just dismantle UCLA. I do not think this UCLA team is very good, but I don't really trust Oregon at this point either.
Yeah.
Let me show it to me first, then I'll start believing you. But I have not seen anything good enough from Oregon yet.
All right, and that'll do it for us today on the Betting Pros College Football Show. Bogman will be back later in the week with his best bets and player props. Until then, like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel and podcast feed, plus download the Betting Pros app and sync your sports books today. For Scott Bogman and Terrell Furman, I am Seth Woolcock. Thanks for watching. Take care, y'all.